coming to 1 Million Cups. I'm Danny. I'm your MC today. For those of you who haven't been to 1 Million Cups, we are here connecting entrepreneurs 1 million cups of coffee at a time. I challenge you all to try drinking 1 million cups and seeing how you go. I just wanted to say thank you to our sponsors, Chico Start, Idea Fab Labs, PCAC TV, and then to all of our organizers, Preston, Wendy, Aaron, me, Levi, Rocky. I think that's all that's here, so that's all you're going to get from me. I just wanted to introduce our speakers. We have got Matt, and I should have probably remembered the name, Common Co, and they're coming to talk to us a little bit about a workspace with coffee and work where we can mix and match, and I'll let them come up and give us a little bit more about their business.
Sweet, yeah, so I'm Matt.
I'm Matt. And I'm Creative Parents.
So we're going to tell you guys about Common Company and what we're trying to start. So we're right now working on opening a coffee shop and a co-working space downtown. And the goal right now is for it to be open sometime early next year. So let me get into sort of what we're trying to do here. So for anyone who's trying to actually lease an office for your business, it's a little bit harder than it seems at first, right? So first, you've got to find an office that you like. You've got to find it for a price that you like. Then you realize it's empty, so you've got to fill it with furniture. That costs more money. You've got to pay for internet. You've got to decorate it. You've got to pay for electricity and utilities. You've got to have it big enough so that when you expand, you don't have to move to another office because you've got long-term leases. And then you got to pay for rooms like conference rooms that you're probably going to use like 10% of the time, and it's just going to sit there empty the rest of the time. And you do all of that to work isolated, not around a community of other business owners, just kind of on your own. So what we want to do with our co-working space is basically make this way easier for small businesses to move into an office. We want to do one single flat monthly rate. You come in, you can move in straight away with furniture. It's really ready to move in. You don't have to pay for utilities. We have conference rooms where you can basically book time, take meetings with clients. You can use the lounge space to sit in different areas of like on couches, and kind of if you feel like working along with other people, you can do that. Or if you feel like kind of working in a more private space, you can do that. So we're going to be trying to target small businesses because of the office sizes that we have, creative professionals, and remote workers. And we're going to be doing that by having both private offices of a few different sizes. We're going to have some dedicated desks, where it's a little bit cheaper. You're not kind of in your own space, but you have your own desk. You can set your stuff up. You can keep it there. And then we're also going to have sort of hot desks where you kind of have access to the space. You can use the conference rooms. You can kind of sit wherever you want, but you don't really have like a home. It's like the cheapest plan, just to kind of get the people in there who might otherwise be working at home and kind of want to have that community that they want to work around.
So now we're going to talk about coffee. If you guys don't know, and I think it was mentioned earlier, 1 million cups, that's based around the idea that we all drink 1 million cups of coffee. I don't know if that's like collectively, individually, I'm not sure yet. Nobody's decided. We should keep count of how many we drink a day. And I think that goes hand in hand with entrepreneurship, with business, with community. And so that was something that we thought wrapped really well into this idea that we're trying to generate. But first we'll kind of talk about the problem of finding coffee. So in coffee, I think we can all agree that it's so much more than just like that cup of liquid that's, you know, a few percent coffee grounds and mostly water. There's so much more to it. So we kind of broke it up into these three kind of emphasis categories. Those aren't words. We broke it up into these three categories that I think just kind of help when it talks about when we find coffee. First thing, obviously, the coffee. You know, we all have the place where we're like, man, this place makes great coffee. This place, okay, coffee. You know, we all have our own opinions. Coffee is such an opinionated world. But there's, the problem of specialty coffee. So really high-end, really well-crafted coffee, sometimes can be a really hard thing to find, especially when there's a wealth of coffee shops out there. Second is just the environment. Having an environment that you yourself want to be in. You want to basically live there. If they gave you a bunk, you'd be like, I'd sleep here. This is cool. And even from your perspective, not just is it a cool space and really well crafted. It feels creative. inspiring. But even for me, not just as a professional, but as a dad, I'm very careful with which coffee shops, I'm rolling my double stroller into, because I don't want to disrupt the mood, but that's another thing that, you kind of have to think of is what environment's going to suit me in my situation best. And then lastly, just coffee really generates good community. It's automatic. When you make coffee, you get community, and I think that's another big focus when we talk about the problem of really finding your coffee places. So we have Stovall Coffee Company is a roasting company that will be running in the building as well alongside the co-working space. And our target for who we're kind of after for our space is coffee nerds. So that's me. I've been a super nerd into coffee, awkwardly so, for about 10 years. So we're trying to create a safe space for all you other coffee nerds, safe space. And then again, for professionals, really creating an environment that is inspiring, that's engaging, a place you want to bring others. You want to work just at the coffee bar. And then again, another focus we had is specific to both Matt and I's situation. We both have he's got 2 young girls, I've got 2 young girls. Is young families. It's such a big part of Chico specifically, and really trying to cater that a little better. So one of the things specifically, just to kind of tie into that a little more. Is we have a basement, which sounds creepy when I talk about a basement. But we're going to be refinishing the whole basement, and a pretty good portion of that we want to dedicate to like a really cool kind of kids space. That it's a place that moms can go into the basement, hang out, drink their coffee, not worry about like what their kids do, and have a lot of cool, creative, interactive things that the kids gets to do. Maybe that even the parents want to play on too because it's cool. So that's just another kind of target niche that we're trying to, dig into a little bit. So that's mostly a good overview, and then just kind of as we wrap things up here, since this is only a 6-minute presentation, is we just wanted to give you a couple of concepts of what our facade's going to look like that we just sent in for submittal to the city. So this is the front of the building, and I think if Matt mentioned, this is 418 Broadway Street. It's right next to Bank of America, in between Bank of America and the Silverstein building, that big white one, right across the street from the plazas. Pretty central downtown location. Currently, I don't know if we have a picture of it, the building's been totally gutted. We're just working on finalizing plans so they can actually start, making it look cool. So here's a couple more conceptual shots, just for funsies here. This looks like it was in a Pixar movie, which is cool. Maybe it will be. We're also going to have a rooftop deck, which is what this is showcasing here. We'll have a back entrance that'll, always be open for co-working and shared office space, 24/7. People have their own access keys. A little pretty nighttime shop for atmosphere and romance. And then the last one is just a couple floor plans just to kind of give you guys an idea. So about the front third is going to be the coffee shop space. It'll have like a mezzanine second level. So the back 2/3, the left side, that's all just an intermix of, offices, conference rooms, open workspaces. That'll be pretty open. We'll have a kind of a balcony wrapped around the front of the coffee shop to, everybody loves levels. And along with the roof deck and the basement, just kind of how those are going to flush out and be sized. So I think that does it for our presentation.
How roughly would it cost for like a minimal office just to come in?
So we have a couple options. So like the hot desk I mentioned, where essentially you just have access to the space.
Right.
The monthly on that is $150, and then we're going to offer like a sort of part-time hot desk membership where you can do 10 calendar days a month at $100 a month.
Okay, this is amazing. You can take my money now.
Yeah, shut up and take my money.
Yeah, take all of my money.
Okay, then it'll be $300 a month.
Take it now. I think this is awesome. I think you guys are bringing the right concept to Chico in the right place, and you're going to help kind of revitalize that part of downtown Chico. I think that would be really awesome. I'm curious on where you, like your marketing for this. How are you planning to bring people in? Is it just connecting face to face? Do you find yourself I guess that's my first question.
I mean, I guess we could answer that different for the coffee shop or the co-working, but for the co-working, I think there will be some like hand-holding in terms of like, finding leads and actually like showing them the space personally and all that. I think we're going to try to focus on Facebook ads for finding people and maybe the types of businesses that we think would be prone to this sort of thing. on the like small business side, we've talked to some real estate agents about maybe doing some sort of like kind of profit share, like that we'd actually encourage them to bring clients who are looking for small offices to us, and that they would benefit from that. And then also being that we're attached to the coffee shop, one side benefit is that there's this sort of public aspect of it, is that all the people coming to the coffee shop are gonna like, you're gonna see in, I don't think we mentioned this, but like, it's not gonna be a solid wall. You're gonna be able to be in the coffee shop and like see what's going on in there. You're like, oh, like what's happening over there? Like, can I sign up right now? So that's the plan.
What's your timeline?
Good question. It keeps moving, surprisingly. Anybody who's worked in construction, you realize any update you get, it either is, hey, it's going to cost more money than you thought, and it's going to take longer than you thought, which is fine. But right now, we're getting more concrete dates on when everything's going to be done. The primary bottleneck is the construction piece. Like I said, the building's been totally gutted. We're finalizing our floor plans to submit. The facade's been submitted to the city. We're hoping, this is unnecessary for me to tell you this much information, but whatever. We're shooting for construction to be done January, February, maybe March, and then open shortly after. So hopefully by April we're up and running.
Cool. I know there are other people here. I just think that you're right demographic. You guys might want to check out some of the young professional organizations in the community. I think that might be right up your alley.
Do you have any specifically?
Yeah, the unprofessional organization.
Oh, that's what it's called.
Yeah. I mean, I'm past president, so I'm a little biased.
And that's through Chico Chamber, right?
Yeah, it's through the chamber. I think it would be instrumental to what you guys are trying to do, and like I said, take all of my money, but like I'd also love to connect with you guys.
Totally.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Good idea.
Andy?
So have you thought about, so people right now that are using Starbucks and all the other coffee shops, Wi-Fi, and they're just buying coffee. So are you gonna allow that? Or are you gonna try to like cap a certain amount of time for how people can use Wi-Fi?
Good question. We've thought a lot about it. I'll let
Yeah.
Matt's thought more about it than I have.
We've talked about it, and like we've looked at doing like the whole like hour of Wi-Fi with a purchase or something, and that's actually technically harder than I expected.
Yeah.
So we're thinking what we're gonna do is, like, we want people to enjoy that space, but we obviously don't want it to be so similar to the co-working space that, like, why would I use that? We're gonna have unlimited Wi-Fi, probably be not quite as fast as the co-working space, but we won't have outlets in the front. So that'll kind of be the limiting factor, which is pretty common for coffee shops nowadays to do, is like, you can't go in there and plug in all day, but you could go and work for a couple hours if that's how you want to do it.
But seeing how most laptops usually last 8 or 9 hours, it's like most people are probably like, that doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
So.
But there's also like, we're hoping that like, one, we don't want to totally discourage that, but also we're hoping that there's enough value add in the co-working space, like access to like the private phone booths. So I mean, if you're cool always being around other people and like that works for your business, I guess, you know, you're doing that at Starbucks already. But for the people who want that private space, who want the place to take their clients, who want mail forwarding and have an address and all that kind of stuff, like, you have to sign up.
So could you have like your inkjet printer or whatever you're using there and not have to move it all the time? Or are you playing musical desks?
Yeah, it depends on what you want. So you can have your own office, which you can put whatever you want in there. You know, we either work with you to get stuff furnished for you, or if you already have your own stuff, great. Then you'd have your own printer. Even if you want to, work with the ASP, maybe to have your own network, we can talk about those things as well. If you want something more than Wi-Fi, we also have, so you could do it there, and then if you had your own dedicated desk, which is kind of a step down, where you don't need your own enclosed space, but you want your own space with like blocky cabinets, things like that. That's kind of another tier where you could have a printer. But yeah, if you had a hot desk or something, my guess is you're probably not going to be bringing a printer in. We're going to have a lot of that. We're going to have, really nice printers and copiers, good equipment, so you shouldn't have to do anything other than come in and, we're going to provide you.
Does that include computer, internet type terminals or something, or do we bring our own laptops?
Bring your own laptops.
Bring your own laptops, yeah. And we can talk about that. It seems like that's pretty much most people in the professional working world that are going to be working here probably have their own computer. Seems like a low price point to get access. So yeah, I don't think we'll be providing computers.
Tim?
What about like landlines and hard phone lines? Are you going to have that available as
So we're going to be wiring every office with Cat5 so that companies can have the option to go direct to the ISP if they want. We'll have internet included, but if they want to do that, that's kind of on their own, and they can figure out with the ISP what plan they want. Phone lines, I think we were leaning towards just having VoIP basically and having enough bandwidth to support that.
Can you talk about your kind of long-term vision? Is this start and end at Chico, or do you see a market out there for something that maybe WeWork and other co-working spaces are not building?
Yeah, it's a good question. We think a lot about what it means. I think we're really focused on Chico. And maybe regionally, we've talked about what it might look like to expand it. That's not really our goal. I think it's okay, if this place works, let's put another one. And honestly, most cities and smaller cities are starting to kind of populate with their own co-working spaces. And I think that's something we want to promote. We like the idea of people bringing things up from within, instead of corporations saying, okay, now we want to be here, now we want to be here. So I'd say more of our long-term vision is we want to kind of help really promote and curate small businesses more on a local scale. And I think if anything, when it comes to, looking on a macro or say regional, global scale or whatever, I think we're more interested in maybe helping other people in other locations doing similar things that we're doing, and kind of sharing in that way than us trying to conquer the land. I think that's not what we're interested in.
Well, first, I thought your presentation was fantastic. I thought the slides and everything was really great.
That was all him. I did zero of them. Look at it, go cool.
My question is when you guys mentioned both with the coffee shop, you mentioned trying to create a sense of community there, and I was wondering what your plans are as far as fostering that, and then also are you trying to do the same thing on the co-working space where you're also creating a sense of a business community as well?
Yeah, because we didn't talk too much about that. We are planning on making kind of the center area of the co-working space being able to be transformable to a kind of an event space. We can pull down a screen, kind of shuffle some couches around, and kind of use that for whatever types of events, business types of events, even events for the broader community, and open up the doors to the coffee shop. We also what?
1 million cups.
Yeah.
Well, that's already here, so maybe another event.
And we were just talking to Wendy,
Sponsored event.
we feel like there's already a lot of that going on. So any way that that our building can serve as a center for that, then great. But we definitely want that to exist there. But we also want to tap into the communities that already exist. And then on the coffee side, we talked about even events that would appeal to a broader audience, even just interviewing people from the community or politicians or whatever, or things specific to coffee.
Yeah, we want to, there's a lot of cool educational pieces, I think, from the coffee world that you can invite the public into, and we've talked a lot about that. And then I think too, a lot of times most coffee shops, usually they kind of go to the music venue if they're going to have public venues, but I think there's a lot more, the best word I can find is weirder stuff that you can do. A lot of the big cities do, like public readings and things like that are maybe a little more creative, a little more interesting, unique, it's easy to find in places like SF or New York, but trying to maybe do something that's more unique than just what most coffee shops usually offer in terms of, some sort of venue.
I'm glad you brought up music, because I was thinking what if they're rocking out in the coffee shop and you're just trying to get work done in the
yeah. Well, that's a factor. And then too, I think it'll be, if we were doing certain events, they would that were sort of noisy. Mm-hmm. It would be either at night or on the weekend when that's kind of standard, and hopefully there'll be enough of a barrier that if somebody's I need to work and it's 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday, it's fine. But yeah, that's definitely something we have to take into consideration, And I'm assuming we're probably not going to have a metal band for the venue. Probably not. There's better venues in Chico for that, so I think that helps.
Have you gotten a hold of the news and review? They have an entrepreneur issue coming out in 2 weeks.
No.
Nope. It's a good thought.
File for small businesses to see.
What's that called?
The news and review.
Matt's not from Chico, so he's
I moved here
learning
a few
all
months
new
ago.
things.
Sorry.
It's just a local paper.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're doing an entrepreneur issue in about 2 weeks.
Huh. Okay.
It'd be a
Do you know anyone there that we could connect with? Cool.
Hey.
Maybe we connect with you after.
So are you going to have a staff? Obviously, you're going to have people maintaining the Wi-Fi, but mail receiving services. So are you going to be having different boxes, for each business or something like that?
Yeah, we've gone back and forth on like how much day to day we need. In the beginning, I mean, obviously, like we're just going to fill in whatever gaps need to be there, and so like, assuming mail forwarding will be something that we offer, then yeah, we'll need somebody who's distributing those throughout the day. We're trying to figure out how to do that with the least amount of manpower as possible, but obviously still offer that.
There's this thing called Earth Mail that they scan like the return addresses of things that come in, so that person could check online to see if they have any mail. Like,
sure.
oh, the IRS sent me something. I better look at it or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe look at this.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Thanks.
What do you guys need?
Honestly, at least one thing.
People in the space?
Yeah, people in the space. For anyone who's interested at all in the space, even like somewhat, we want feedback on like what would be valuable to have in the space, because we're at the stage now where like we're making decisions about office sizes and what amenities we offer, and like we want to sit down with people and just like pick people's brains about that to make sure we're building the right thing.
So when you talk about the space, alright, so you've got the coffee thing and you've got the co-working thing. When you talk about your needs and what you're planning and what you're trying to figure out relative to your target market and what the opportunity is, are you separating those two things, or are you combining them when you talk about it?
We usually find that we separate them when we talk about them. I think there's some overlap, but there's probably more that doesn't overlap.
Okay. Because when you guys started talking about an event space, to me that started sounding like a third thing. But it's also potentially a Chico, based on some talking to people and research and everything. I think Chico needs this. I think that you're on something, and just having a high quality, well designed and well executed event space for smaller events. I think if you connected to certain companies around town that don't have room in their own internal facilities and don't want to go to the crappy places like the Elks Lodge and want to be downtown where you can go to the bars after, or you can go to dinner before, I think you will kill it just in event space. I think you could kill everything on your entire plan and just have one space.
All right. That's encouraging, because I know like that's kind of been like a secondary thing for us.
Yeah.
So it's cool to hear that maybe there's more.
Yeah.
There's more there.
Well, we recently went to this really great spot up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. We went to a few weeks ago. It's pretty much doing the same concept, a really nice coffee shop and a really well done co-working space. And that was one of their main focuses, was their kind of event space really took off way more than they expected to, with how often people were booking it out. So it made us really try to recently kind of more shift priority into how we could do something similar.
Yeah, you've got local tech speakers, you've got hackathons, you have meetups that don't have places to go. I mean, a small meetup with 20, 30 people is not going to be able to rent out the Elks Lodge. It's too big anyway. So they're left to kind of try to decipher what is available, and generally it falls to Wendy's space.
Or the Parkside Tap House and Grana has an upstairs, and those are like,
They're so small though.
Yeah.
And they're not designed for a presentation.
no, they're changing that at Parkside, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, they're getting this huge screen drop
But
down, but it's
super
just
small space.
Yeah.
Like,
You
you want to
can
have
fit
more
four.
than we just did an event there and it was really tight.
Yeah.
Our thought was, I wish there was someplace else we could do this.
So in your mind, how many, like what would be ideal? Like, how big would that space be? How many people could you fit in there? Like, what do you think? You're like, oh, this is perfect.
150, like 100, 150, a medium-sized venue, not someplace super large, but someplace big enough. Like we plan events all the time, and it's just there's constantly we're running. We were just talking about potential spaces, and you run out of spaces. There's only so many places in Chico that also have that really sexy appeal to that 25 to 35 plus demographic. Like the college kids are kind of taken care of, but like the sweet spot for like a young professional, which kind of sounds like that's your demographic.
Sure.
It's really limited in this area, and there are tons of organizations and tons of groups that are like they want it, they want more, and it's just not there yet. So I think that is an important aspect for you guys to focus on when you take all of my money for the work.
How big is that roof? How big is the rooftop?
The rooftop is like 1,600 square feet.
I'd say it's pretty close to this room size, maybe a little smaller. It's about 40 feet by 40 feet or so, about 600 square feet.
Will there be an elevator there so you can bring
Yeah.
the
Yes.
car?
Yes, there. Yeah, We were trying to look at how you could do that in a cheap way, but you can't. So we just have to get like a super expensive elevator. So we've dealt with that emotionally, and we're like, cool. It'll be cool to have an elevator. So
Or just build a bar there and have people have the ability to bring their stuff in there.
Well, yeah, we've talked about having like some sort of plumbing and counter space up there for like those types of events for sure, because we just feel like it's going to be really cool up there. Already when we climb up there, like the view is great.
Yeah.
So just to be able to have like whatever types of events up there would be great. And then we have the Silverstein building that we can point a projector at on the side.
yeah, it's like a big white brick
Yeah.
wall. It's perfect.
That's awesome.
Aaron.
I just had one comment. I thought the idea of having a kids area down in the basement was a good idea, but I would stop using the word basement.
Yes. Yeah. Right when I said it, I was like, this is weird. Turn people off.
Sending mom and the kids to the basement.
So what do we want to say? Cellar? That's
No, like a problem.
okay.
Just say kids' room.
Yeah. It's just down some stairs.
It's like the coolest room in the building.
Okay, yeah. Why don't we say that's the first floor and then the ground floor?
I mean, to a kid, a basement sounds cool.
That's true.
Maybe just not the parent.
Yeah.
I'm going to highlight if there's no windows, just one.
Because we still feel weird when we bring people down there who like, oh, come see the building, come into the basement. It's weird. So it's a good point.
You have your transportation be the creepy van, and then you have the scary basement.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The white van that just says Common Co on the side of it.
Yeah, totally.
If you had something like,
I got some idea.
if you had like some like a little movie theater or like maybe an augmented reality sandbox.
Oh no, what?
Or something that need low light, then it might be.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
make more
totally.
sense.
Oh, we're gonna get you to build some stuff. Yeah.
How many members do you think you'll need to have to make this like successful for you, profitable?
We have a break-even point, and I'm forgetting what it actually is, but it's around, I want to say like 50 to 60.
Would all of those people be able to be in there at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a pretty big space, especially once the build-out is done.
So you were saying about the basement. But if you say basement, why would it sound creepy if it's just pretty much just under where you're standing?
That's a good point. See, child's minds. We need to be like him, guys.
It is literally a basement.
Right. So from your perspective, if you came in and I was like, hey, there's a basement, you'd be like, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
We have a basement, and my dad's gonna have us work on it and actually make it so that me and my brother are gonna sleep in it.
Yes. All right, you guys heard it from the source. Aaron, you heard it from the source.
Market research.
Alright,
Check
we have
that.
time for one more question.
Yeah.
This question's for Matt.
Good one.
You mentioned getting like the space filled on the co-working side, just kind of like butts and seats, like getting people placed. Do you have a spec for like a pre-booking feature for that in the run-up to?
Yeah, we actually wanted to get signups before today, just because it's the first time we're like talking about it more. But yeah, we hope, especially once we start getting renders of the inside, because right now all we have is like the outside. But once our architect starts getting more of the inside finished, we want to launch our website where we can start getting interest and actually get pre-signups. Like the place Matt was mentioning in Idaho, they had all their private offices. They booked up full like before they opened. And
For like 3 years. I think.
it's pretty great. So like if we can do that, I think we'll try to push for it. And I think we have enough time where like we don't want to be wasting that. So I think we'll for sure try.
What are you going to charge for your private office?
It depends on the size. Want to say the smallest is like 400.
Just take my money.
Thanks, guys. Awesome.
Oh, that mail service is called Earth Class.
Third class mail? Alright.
Thank you guys all for coming to 1 Million Cups. You can find the presentation on our Facebook page or on our Twitter account. And again, I wanted to thank all of our sponsors, Idea Fab Lab, UCAC TV, 6 Degrees Coffee, Chico Start, and again, our organizers that are here, since we do have a late one. Tim, I didn't mention his name before. So Tim, myself, Levi, Rocky, Preston, Wendy, of course. I don't know how I dropped that, and Aaron. So thank you guys all for coming and great presentation.
you.